mobile home industry. From the bottom to the top, he climbed the ladder of success. Investing in them trailers, he was bound to impress. Started off with nothing, just a dream in his mind. But he had that fire burning, couldn't be confined. He saw potential in the mobile homes, a hidden treasure. Flipped him like a pro, turned him into a real estate pleasure. J Garcia, the mobile.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Mobile Home Confessions in Cars. My name is Jose J Garcia, your host, and you're in for a treat today. We're going to be going out to look at a mobile home, a little bit differently styled. But before we get started, as always, let's talk about the car. Why do we choose a car? SUV. We've done cars, we've done truck, now it's an SUV. A Range Rover. I love Rovers. I love Rovers. I love Porsche SUVs, even Volvos, but Rovers, they just look good. We got an all blacked out lowered on 26s. It's fun. You know, these things are not just a luxury. They are fast. They are powerful. This one here produces over 500 horsepower. Twin turbo. It's what a lot of people don't realize. Cars are fast, but SUVs, they make them just as fast, some even faster than cars. Depends on the cars, of course. But you know, the Rovers have been around for a while. They also now make them as electrical. Can be as fun. You saw that back on episode number 2 where we had the Mustang SUV. No sound. I got to have some torque sound. I got to have that roar as I'm going down the road. So now we're not going to be taking out on the streets, racing anybody. That's not what we're going to be doing. But what we are going to be doing instead is going out to the country. And we're going to be picking up our guest for today, Mr. Robert Bogino. Robert Bogino is an investor. He's a friend. He is also a realtor, a broker, a business owner. But most importantly, his passion is mobile homes, as you would know. Now, if you follow his social media, his TikTok, his Reels, you'll know that he is about the mobile home game. He has more than plenty of stories he's going to be sharing with us, and he has seen a lot of stuff in his day. He gets a little more creative with what he's doing in mobile homes, and it's actually what we're going to be going out there to see after this Confessions in Cars. We're actually going to be hosting an event live, so you may get to be part of that as well. Let's go pick up Mr. Robert. On our way. All right, so we picked up Robert Bogino, who now we're going to start talking about the raw, unedited mobile home investing. So, Robert, how you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Thank you for joining, man. We're actually at his property, so we may take a tour. Stay tuned for that as well. But, Robert, how long have you been in the mobile home game?
You know, I really haven't been doing mobile homes quite as long as I've been in real estate in general. I want to say I did my first mobile home maybe 3 years ago, maybe 4, something like that. It was... You know, I'd always been interested in it, and when I did my first one, I actually got a really easy project. It was literally one of those paint and carpet deals you hear about. And did really well. The prices of mobile homes had not kind of reached past the 200 mark. We're talking about mobile homes on land, by the way, like actual real estate. And I just kind of realized there was a lower barrier of entry, much less competition for me to find these deals. You know, when I started doing our traditional marketing, whatever you want to do, cold calling, emailing, you know, letters, I was the first person to ever contact these mobile homeowners. Whereas, you know, when I used to do single families in Cobb County, I was the 100th letter they got that week, and they're going to say F you and hang up. So yeah, mobile home's been about 3 years, and that's all I do exclusively now. I mean, we can talk about the last single family home I did. Barely broke even on it.
And when I said earlier, when we started this video, I said, you know, he gets a little more creative with mobile homes. That's what I was referring to. Robert actually does real estate with them, which is the land. He ain't making no more land, so you better get something while you can. But we're going to jump right on into it. The good, the bad, the different. All the gurus talk about their profits and the best. That's great and all. But Robert's going to share some insight of what most people don't, like we do. Tell me right away, because I'm looking at this and we're going to show you his mobile home. This is the nicest mobile home I've seen him do. I'm sure he's got even better ones coming. But I want to hear about the gross one. I want to hear about the nasty one. It's nice to hear about the gross ones. I didn't have to go in.
Right.
Go.
Those are my favorite. I mean, that's what everybody likes to see. You know, some people want to see the nice new finished product. I like going in and when they're gross. They always have a big story. Interestingly enough, it's 2 houses down, literally. That's how I found this lot. That's how I get a lot of my deals. Is I do one neighborhood and I just kind of canvass the neighborhood. You get known. People kind of see you as the mobile home guy.
You're the go-to. Okay.
Yeah. So this house in particular had multitudes of sex toys. I'm not sure why the large collection was in there. It had some very.
How large are we talking?
I think it was more the quantity of
cell distribution. Oh, that's what I was referring to.
Yeah. Okay. But it had a lot of police paraphernalia, which was very confusing. I mean, like actual police. There was a riot shield in there.
Wow.
Interesting story. So, you know, the house was gross. Of course, you had black mold, all that fun stuff. I mean, you know, trash piled up so high you could barely walk through it.
Jesus.
I did find out after talking to the so nice woman that she was actually still living there. I did not even know that until about an hour into the conversation. We're at closing. I didn't even realize this till closing, but you know, her husband had passed away. This was part of the problem, is doing a probate for her. This is what comes up with properties like this a lot. You know, I think it took 4 months to close. I mean, you know, a lot of investors would not put forth that effort. We're sitting at closing and she's talking about her husband dying and all this stuff. And she goes, yeah, you know, the dogs were so upset that they chased him all the way down to the end of the street. And then I'm like putting it together in my head. Oh, this guy died in the house. I had not put that together until right. I mean, not that it would have mattered to me, but not, you know,
sure.
I'm like, okay. So now it's all kind of making sense. Which in Georgia, you actually don't have to disclose that if someone died in the house. It's one of those states that you don't.
Good tip.
So, but yeah, it's just kind of like you just got hit with that right at the last minute as you're signing the dotted line that somebody died in the house.
Final truths come out.
Yeah.
Always. So that one that you took nastiest with all the toys, not large size in the actual toy, but large distribution. I want to clarify that. I was trying to, maybe it was a distribution center happening. I don't know.
Maybe.
What ended up happening? Good win?
It was a great project. It was one of the last few big rehabs I did. You know, it got me into this neighborhood we're in now. This is the second lot that we put a new mobile home on. I kind of started doing these 2 neighborhoods very close to each other. So it was a great win. I mean, it helped her out a lot. She had been trying to sell it. You know, what happens a lot is guys that were doing what I was doing, single family homes, will make an offer, get under contract, and then walk in there and be like, I have no idea what to do. Or a wholesaler, you know, will contact someone in real estate and say, oh, this house, this comp is 300, because they're competing against a single family home, which is completely different planets, you know. So a lot of times you will talk to people that have been under contract a couple times and they just want out. They want somebody that will close it and get done. And that's the guys that do it, that know what's going on. You know?
Well, simpler, quicker with mobile homes always. But again, we're talking about real estate with them. Now, you're a realtor, a broker. You don't carry yourself as one. No disrespect, none of them out there.
No.
But there's such lag, delay. There's always hiccups. There's always, you know, that kind of thing we deal with. So my question to that is, how is it you being a realtor broker dealing with other ones when they're trying to sell or buy? Because they're involved, obviously, you know.
They are, and that is, listen, no one likes realtors, even me. That's the whole reason I got my license, is I got sick of dealing with them. You know, and I guess the first question people ask is, do I need a license? You absolutely do not. A lot of investors feel like it's a hindrance. You know, if you're going to focus on the park model, I would highly suggest not getting it. It just creates a lot more steps for you and a lot more legality. Okay, it puts you in a lot more liability sense.
So there's no real benefit, I guess you're saying, also being an agent to finding deals. Would that help out some?
You know, for me, in this area, it's very difficult to make money off the MLS. Like me buying a deal off the MLS. I don't think I've done that in 6 years. And the last city I did it was Rome, Georgia. I like having my license because I do the deals on land, and that way when I sell them, I'm in control of it. It is a very difficult process. That's something that investors don't like, is the title issues, the lender issues. You know, you can't just list a mobile home and have someone from, you know, Bank of America make an offer. It doesn't work that way. And the agent for the buyer, and I mean, no disrespect to them, but they're not going to know what to do because they've probably never dealt with a mobile home.
That's the majority of them.
It is. And you know, once you do a couple of transactions, you know everything. and you kind of say, okay, we can't take an offer from this bank. I've worked with them. They're not going to fund a mobile home. Or you tell the agent, the first thing I have a conversation with them is I have to tell them, you have to realize your client is not buying a cheap house. They're buying an expensive mobile home. Very different things. They can't go into this expecting a single family home. Odd things come up with inspections. Nobody's going to understand the foundations, the engineer reports that you need for this house that you don't need for a single family home. Those are what kind of breaks off investors, because it is very possible that you could buy a existing mobile home, rehab it, and then never be able to sell it on traditional financing, depending on how the foundation is done. And you might not know that until, actually, we have someone in the group running through that right now, where they did a beautiful job, and really their only option is to sell it for cash because they just got caught, and it wasn't anything they didn't do.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
But it's possible, and you try to avoid that, but you have to be prepared for those kind of contingencies, which don't come up with single family homes.
So we're not talking about mansions, stick built, massive by any means, and I'm going with this on the clientele. But we're also not talking my type of mobile homes, which are most inside of communities. And I mean, you get some clientele. Some of them are so needy. I feel like their next call is to call me for room service. That it's at that level. Like, hey, there's this going on. He's like, what do you want me to do about it? Like, it's kind of thing. How was the clientele for something like a?
I think it's great. I was doing flips, and I still represent a few investors that sell real homes in the 500s. To me, that is the most difficult group of people to deal with right now. You're looking at buyers that, when the interest rates were low, we're looking at houses that were 750. So now they're expecting the moon for 450, 500. They're upset because they're paying 7-something%. They're at the end of their limits. These transactions become very, very difficult. They ask for the moon, like you said. A lot of liability in that group, where everybody's too happy in that kind of generation that's buying those houses. When I say affordable housing, we're talking 250 and under. I got 2 buyers for these things and nothing in between. First-time home buyers that are barely making it, FHA, conventional loan, barely making that monthly payment. Or older retiree people for cash, nothing in between. And to me, they've both been great groups to work with. They ask for almost nothing. We have a conversation first, like, this is what you're getting. You have to understand that, and that's what it is. To me, it's easier. I don't mind dealing with all the foundation issues and engineer inspection because I do it ahead of time. It's just so much easier than.
So now, there's only 2 categories you're mentioning. To me, that would be limitation. You're not holding on to these forever though when it comes to sales. So I mean,
no, the last 3 I've sold before I even listed them. This one I've let a couple people see it now. Which we can talk about that. I kind of screwed myself by not listing one because now I can't use it as a comp for an appraisal. It has to be listed in the MLS. Yeah, and you learn that stuff the hard way. I mean, there's stuff like that, but yeah, typically I do sell them. I would say half of them I sell for cash, which is great because less inspections, less time. They fly off the market. When people ask me who's buying these, or we're in a more rural area, everyone. I sell these faster than anything I've ever sold. I had a single family home listed when the market shifted. In case you guys don't remember, about 12 months ago is when the interest rates kind of flipped. Could not move that single family home. Had to basically give it away. Maybe broke even. And we're talking about broke even on a project that took a 12-month rehab. Just the rehab was $120,000. Foundation work. In that same amount of time, I sold 2 mobile homes in 3 days when I was, so to me, I don't want to say they're recession proof.
I do. I got a shirt that says it.
Well, then there you go. I mean, because I see it from both ends. I see it from the high-end market. Oddly enough, I know someone that does new construction in the 2 millions, and they say the same thing. They're moving off the shelf. It's like the 2 ends of the market are kind of unaffected. It's all those people in the middle and those 400, 500s that it's a nightmare right now. And you deal with, maybe the next level down of people.
That is where I would consider more the recession-proof. I think you're in the verge of, I still think you do great, but I mean, should we say more? They're there. It's an investment. So tell me, I keep looking at the dough water. We're going to go check it out here in a minute. So tell me your best win with a mobile home.
It's actually closing on Monday. And we can talk about the bad stuff. Trust me, this doesn't happen all the time. What I have been doing is been buying move-in ready mobile homes. I'm done with rehab, and he just asked me, are you doing this work yourself? I said, hell no. My guys just pulled up. They're going to be hauling these center blocks here, wrecking their back. I can't do that anymore, you know. I bought a mobile home for $52,000 on owner financing. So the guy owner financed it for a year with no interest.
Wow, okay.
I sold it 2 weeks later. I did list it on the MLS. We took out the trash, spent $1,000 cleaning it out. Listed it on the MLS for $130, sold it in 24 hours for cash.
Wow.
So,
my goodness,
about 70 grand, and you know, because you have your realtor fee. Like, I got to pay all these fees. So that's the bad thing about real estate, is you have a lot more fees and all that. So I mean, as far as profit versus time and money involved, that's the best deal. I did just buy another one, and we can talk about this with the group one day, or maybe have a different segment. I bought a house sub 2, which means I took over the existing mortgage, and I sold it on a wrap. So I put zero money in. I gave the guy zero money at closing. Literally just took over his payments. Sold it for double the cost. I bought it for $65. Sold it for $125. Got 10% down from them. Charged them 10% interest a month, and cash flowing $300 a month without even having a rental headache. It's just, I'm the bank. And it was, you know, you hear about these deals, these sub 2 wraps, and I'm like, well, let me try it once. I probably made some mistakes there, but again, no money in.
Live and learn, but you're succeeding and you're profiting.
You know, but you have those options with mobile homes. You don't have quite the flexibility. I mean, you know, you can do anything. You can wholesale them. You can wholesale land. I mean, you find a guy like us, and you find us a piece of land. It works for us. You want to partner on the deal. You know, it's just a lot more to it than you can with other things.
Well, y'all are used to my type of mobile homes. Flea infested, I got to run. Okay. There's cats, there's dogs, there's all kinds of stuff. But this one is beautiful. Now, you're in the process still building the outside, putting it together, which is beautiful foundation, by the way. Let's get out. Let's check it out. All right. So now we are outside where we're going to be checking out the home. Check out his shirt real quick.
There we go.
There you go. So here is the beautiful brand new double wide, and you know, I don't mind the country. I used to, not so much now, but we're gonna check it out. So let me turn the camera over for y'all. Go ahead, Robert. You want to walk us real quick? Just
sure.
kind of look at this.
So obviously we're still putting in the block exterior foundation. This actually does not support the home at all. This is just for aesthetics. This is something that a lot of banks require, which technically they're not supposed to. They talk about it being on a permanent foundation. This actually has nothing to do with it. But engineers and all that are very confused, so I just do it to avoid problems. I mean, honestly, it's just kind of like, it's a headache if I don't have that. If you have that vinyl skirting, a lot of banks will do the vinyl skirting, but I just want more options. Okay, and people like it too. It just looks nicer.
Yeah.
The foundation is actually all those piers that you can still see inside here. And we're actually using a new system. Jay, you're probably used to seeing all those tie downs.
Yep.
I don't know if have you used these transverse arms before?
No, we have not.
So these are made by a company called Oliver Technologies. You actually only need 2 of these, and that's all you need for the foundation now. Instead of, this would be about 18 straps. They're cheaper, faster. Anybody can put them in, and they're approved.
They almost seem more durable, also.
You know, they're just plates. I mean, you know, I've had my guys put them in. This is going to have, I've started doing a little bit smaller decks, because you got to have decks and all that stuff. That's all part of your final inspections. This land is kind of interesting because we had to put, first of all, you see all these big trees. We had to develop this whole piece of land. I mean, it was,
wow,
you know, not cleared. We had to put in a brand new septic system over here. There's a well over there, which nowadays wells can cost you up to $15,000. Used to be about 10. So you got to budget that kind of stuff in. This kind of thing does require a lot more kind of environmental impact because you need well and septic. That's why you need such a big lot to do this. You usually need a minimum of 1.5 acres. And one of the big problems is from that point right there where that well is, all the way to the septic, you need 100 feet. And that's so the water doesn't get contaminated to drink. And as you can see, that's difficult to do on a half-acre lot or something like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of why the county requires that. But that's another big steep barrier. You know, you can do that other people aren't going to be willing to do, you know.
Should be making notes. All this is educational, and that's what we're going to be teaching. I talked about this. We're actually going to have an event here in about an hour after this cast. So what do y'all say? We check out the inside? What you think, Robert?
Yep, let's check it out.
Let's go. Making my way in.
Yeah, I'll let you go first so you can get the...
Nice. It does not smell like the top of mobile homes on Vista. I'm going to keep saying that. Okay, turn the camera over for y'all. Here in a second, let me make it through the kitchen. There we go. 3-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful, beautiful. Right under 1,600 square footage. I mean, these new homes, it's a house. That's what it is. Here we are. Yep, it's the wife down there prepping for our event here in a few minutes. So, all right, walk me through, Robert.
Yeah, so the master, well, we got, there's a little bit, we call this kind of a mid-grade home. It's not your entry-level home. You see a lot of those Claytons that are a little bit more basic than this one. This one comes with stainless steel appliances. I like the little farm sink. All this comes exactly like this. I mean, it's
Straight out of the factory.
Yeah, straight out of the factory. You got to put the two halves together, obviously.
Sure.
But, I mean, the sinks are installed, everything. It's kind of crazy the way it comes.
You said appliances.
Appliances are in it when they come. I mean, it's wild. And I mean, you have a little bit of damage usually from the move, like they give you some drywall repair kits and all that kind of stuff, just because, you know, the movers are a little crazy sometimes. We'll stay with the master.
Sure.
Big master bedroom in here. This is what usually people like. You know, they like to see the nice big double vanities, nice big shower.
That's a selling point.
Yeah, it's modern looking.
Man.
You know, mobile home. And you know, the rooms are not going to be very big. They're going to be about 100 square feet, which is typical of a small single family house.
I mean, this feels big, spacious.
Yeah.
So, did you talk about the numbers? I know some of you are thinking hundreds of thousands, but what are we thinking numbers-wise?
So I do have a dealer's license. So, you know, I'm getting these from the factory pretty cheap. But you could actually go to a place like Bob's Family Housing up there in Delania. I know that they'll sell you one for about $100,000. It's going to be a lesser model home, and there's going to be a lot of expenses that come with that. Like they don't come with AC in it. It's a lot of stuff like, you know, obviously got working septic and all that. But you're probably looking around something like that price for a home like this. You know, if you don't have a license and you're not doing everything yourself, but which still makes it work. There are guys that do that. I mean, there's a guy I talked to that does the same model I do, but he sits at his desk at home and pays somebody, you know, he doesn't have a dealer's license and all that. He's not making as much per deal, but he's doing more deals than I am because he's sitting at home.
So one thing I've come to learn, and I think this is the same for real estate, is selling point. You know, the woman, the lady, is going to choose a house. The man is just going to pay for it. They know what I'm talking about. So, but the selling points in a mobile home is typically similar to a house. Kitchen, bathrooms, and laundry. I'm impressed with the laundry. I'm impressed with the whole house. Show us the laundry room.
Yeah, let's check it out. It's going to be a little messy, but huge laundry room.
Yes.
Like the mud sink. I think this is what made me buy this model home. And now they've actually started putting the water heaters in these little areas back here where they used to be in the closets.
Okay. Still hidden in the back.
A little bit more accessible, but
yeah, but check this out, guys.
Yeah,
I mean, look at it. You got a sink, which is beautiful. That's laundry anyway. Deep sink too. You got for the washer dryer, and I mean, you could remove that and do a stackable if you wanted to. You could give it even that much more room, and still gives you another section of storage. Put some more shelves. I mean, absolutely. So, well, there you have it. That is Confessions in Cars with Robert Bogino. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Robert, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys.